Technical error? Why did we lose vision of Taiwan's digital minister speaking at the US Summit for Democracy? Express your voice. Taiwan's ruling and opposition parties up the ante ahead of the December 18th referendums. Clean and jerk. Taiwan's Olympic gold medalist and weightlifting star wins a 5th world title to boost Team Taiwan's medal tally. And we look at how a radio show host is using her skills to promote Indigenous craft. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. At the Summit for Democracy, Taiwan's digital minister Audrey Tang had her video cut off during her panel discussion. Tang had shown a map representing the level of civic freedoms in Asia, with China and Taiwan in different colors. When the moderator asked Tang further questions, her feed was replaced with only audio. Many are now wondering if there were political implications at play. Bing Wang reports.
And Taiwan has been rated as completely open for 3 consecutive years. We're the only Asian.
This is a slide used by Taiwan's digital minister at the US Democracy Summit that seems to have ruffled feathers. China and Taiwan in different colors. After her presentation, Minister Audrey Tang's video feed was cut and replaced with a name card over her audio.
I'm hoping you can offer just a few more thoughts on where we are.
Certainly. So I've heard a lot about the digital public infrastructures.
The United States, which hosted the summit, put it down to technical difficulties. Taiwan's foreign ministry said the same. Their statement reads, "The United States sincerely stated that this was due to a technical problem in the control center, which made the screen sharing function unavailable. Taiwan and the United States have fully communicated on this technical issue, and the two sides have mutual solid trust and solid and friendly relations." But after Tang's segment at the online summit, there was an on-screen disclaimer that any opinions expressed by individuals on the panel were not necessarily a reflection of the views of the US government. The US adheres to the One China policy and doesn't directly take a stance on the issue of Taiwan's sovereignty, which has led many to believe the White House deliberately cut off Tang's video, not wanting to seem at odds with the long-standing policy.
I think there are people within the State Department in the US that are very wary of Taiwan. And despite the stronger moves by the Biden administration in support of Taiwan, this has not gone to the way of strategic clarity on Taiwan. It's still officially a position of strategic ambiguity. Biden has made various gaffes in which he has referred to Taiwan, China and the US agreeing on the Taiwan policy, and there is no such policy. Then later on, there were comments that he made which were interpreted as more supportive of Taiwanese independence, but then these were also walked back.
The map used in the summit by Tang shows the degree of civic freedoms around the country ranked by an international nonprofit, with Taiwan marked as open and China as closed. Tang did not show the map during the panel dry runs, and it may have caught organizers by surprise. They had barred their use of any overt symbols of Taiwan sovereignty, which Tang has stressed was not what she'd done. Taiwan's foreign ministry did not offer a comment on the disclaimer.
So I think what happens then when the US expresses support for Taiwan is that China then hits back regarding this. Particularly under the Trump administration and continuing under the Biden administration, you have the pattern of increasing support for Taiwan as a reaction to something that China does, which of course raises the accusation then that you're only increasing support for Taiwan as a way to quickly stick it to China. But then China responds with military threats, mostly deploying warplanes to Taiwan's air defense identification zone, sometimes naval exercises, and the US usually responds in kind. And so you have this pattern of tit-for-tat escalation, and Taiwan is caught uncomfortably in between in that sense.
This comes at a sensitive time for cross-strait relations, where China is ramping up its military posturing and Taiwan is boosting its defense capabilities. Alex Chen and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
It's just days before people across Taiwan will be heading to polling booths to vote in a countrywide referendum tackling 4 major issues. The yes and no camps are largely divided along political lines. And this weekend, the 2 major parties, the opposition Kuomintang and the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, went into overdrive to encourage people to cast their ballots for Saturday's vote. Our reporter, Peachy Zhuang, has more.
Over 20,000 DPP supporters gathered in the southern city of Tainan for the party's referendum campaign on Sunday. The DPP sent out heavy weights to call on people to reject the 4 items up for vote. All popular initiatives on reef protection, pork imports, a nuclear plant, and referendum dates. Premier Su Zhenchang spoke about the DPP administration's achievements and criticized the opposition 国民党。
中国国民党跟他摸中国的大腿，会害死台湾。所以，为了台湾走出去，为了我们的国际贸易，我们照国际的规矩，政府一定负责把关安全。各位国家的主人要站出来。 我们要对国民党的乱，能够讲不同意。
The sentiments echoed by Taiwan's president accused the KMT of obstructing Taiwan's democratic development and stressed that all 4 items up for vote are critical.
机关拿不过，我们很可能回到过去。过去是什么样的情况？那是国民党执政的时代。 我们走不出去，我们被锁在中国。
On the same day, in the capital, the Kuomintang made their push to urge people to vote yes on all 4 issues in the referendum. About 10,000 people, including KMT chairperson Eric Zhu and former President Ma Ying-jeou, marched from Liberty Square to the presidential office building. Ma used the platform to champion one of the most contentious topics: the activation of the nation's 4th nuclear power plant.
中国政府一直不承认我们缺电，其实我们缺电已经很严重。那这样再掩饰下去，将来根本没有办法回头。
The DPP and the KMT have planned more rallies in the coming week, with both parties scheduled to host events on the 17th of December, the night before the referendum, hoping until the last moment to win voters to their side. Rick E. MP Zhang for TaiwanPlus.
The G7 has warned Russia of massive consequences if it invades Ukraine. Foreign ministers from the world's richest democratic countries have met in Liverpool, England. They issued a statement calling on Russia to de-escalate its build-up of forces on Ukraine's border. US intelligence believes Russia is planning an offensive on Ukraine in the coming months, involving up to 175,000 troops. The Russian government has denied such plans, but the British Foreign Secretary said any attempt at coercion would trigger a response.
The world's largest economies are united. We've sent a powerful signal to our adversaries and our allies. We've been clear that any incursion by Russia into Ukraine would have massive consequences for which there would be a severe cost.
The final G7 statement also said the leaders were concerned by China's coercive economic policies. Taiwan has often been the target of such practices from Beijing. I spoke to Lithuanian MP Dovile Shakelina about how countries like Russia and China use intimidation and aggression to expand their influence.
In this very dangerous geopolitical time, when certain authoritarian regimes are becoming more and more hostile, and we see threats and intimidation coming from Chairman Xi, from Mr. Putin, from Mr. Lukashenko, who is not even actually a legit leader of his country, and attacking our borders and etc. with hybrid attacks and attacking us on the cyberspace and etc. That means that the democracy will shrink and our children will live in the Orwell's 1984, which is happening in Xinjiang in a couple of decades, if we don't unite ourselves right now. So what Lithuania can do, we can contribute as much as we can in helping to ensure development of sustainable economic relations with democracies such as Taiwan, also continue better cooperation with United States, with India, with Japan, with Australia, so that we depend on each other. The more we stand together, the safer Taiwan, Lithuania, and every single one of us is.
What do you think of China and Russia's growing alliance?
The problem is that with authoritarian regimes, they are unpredictable, and it's difficult to trust them because they usually break their promises. what is clear to me is the basic principle. Communists are like plague everywhere, and they hurt people. They have hurt my family, they have hurt my country. They are now hurting millions of Uyghurs in Xinjiang. They are threatening people all around the region, from Hong Kong to Tibet to you. So what we need to do is find a way to protect ourselves, to withstand it. And Lithuanian foreign politics has been very consistent for decades. We have always supported democracies, and we have always helped to withstand autocratic regimes, but not in a bloody way. As you know, our freeing ourselves, in the end, it was in a peaceful way. We lost people on the 1991 January 14th, just standing with, without any arms in front of the tanks. And still, because of the support of the world, we got our freedom finally.
The International Weightlifting Federation World Championships took place over the weekend in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, with golds for Taiwan in the women's events. Our reporter Sandy Chi has the story.
Taiwanese weightlifters Guo Xingchun and Chen Wenhui have taken gold and silver in their respective categories at the World Championships in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Olympic gold medalist Guo Xingchun captured her 5th World Championship title. She has now dominated her division for the past 4 years. In the women's under 59 kilogram division, Guo took silver in the snatch with 100 kilograms, then gold in the clean and jerk with 130 kilograms. The combined lift of 230 kilograms was enough to seal her 5th championship title. Following her win, Guo thanked her team and her supporters on Facebook. And for the Olympic bronze medalist Chen Wenhui, the Tashkent event marks her first World Championship medals in the women's under 64 kilogram division. Chen took gold in the clean and jerk with a lift of 135 kilograms and bronze in the snatch with 97 kilograms. The combined lift of 232 kilograms won her the silver medal, just 1 kilo behind gold medalist Nima Saeed of Egypt. James Raynor and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan has seen no locally transmitted COVID-19 cases since December 9th, with the majority of cases being imported from overseas and contained upon arrival. Here's a look at some of the latest COVID developments around the world.
The U.S. has reached a grim milestone of 800,000 coronavirus deaths. The country is poised to break 50 million total cases, with the highly infectious Omicron variant beginning to spread. Across the Atlantic, the UK has raised its COVID alert to 4, the second highest level. Lockdown measures have been stepped up due to a rapid rise in Omicron cases. In Russia, local media reports that COVID cases have passed the 10 million mark, but they have also claimed the daily rate of new COVID cases is going down. In South Africa, total COVID cases crossed the 3 million mark, with Omicron becoming the dominant strain. The country's president has tested positive for COVID and is currently self-isolating with mild symptoms.
Coming up after the break, a tornado rips through central and southern U.S. states. We have the latest. Stay with us.
So you think 山给了你什么？
没有办法用几句简短的话语来带过，但它造就现在的我。
山就是给了一个我们远离世俗的环境，你可以忘记很多事情。
不要怕去探索新的东西吧。
很深层的去认识一块土地，去认识一个很深邃的自然。
在山的面前，你只会一直感觉到自己的渺小。
每一次都有不同的考验哦。
妈妈表现怎么样？
很好，10分坚强。
山是
有魔力的地方。
那如果今天不让你爬山，你觉得你会死？
生命肯定会延续下去，但我想心灵有一部分会枯萎掉吧。
最有人情味的地方。
Thank you for watching Taiwan Plus. For more great news from Taiwan and around the world, download the app Taiwan Plus.
Welcome back. You're watching Taiwan Plus News. A reminder of our top story. At the Summit for Democracy, Taiwan's Digital Minister Audrey Tang had her video cut off during her panel discussion, leaving many concerned about the political implications. Officials in central and southern U.S. states are counting casualties after a series of catastrophic tornadoes swept through at least 6 states, killing nearly 100 people. U.S. President Joe Biden said the tornadoes were among the largest in U.S. history and pledged any federal resources required to the affected areas. Now, as the clear-up begins, residents of the 6 states try and comprehend what has happened. James Chater reports.
In the U.S. state of Kentucky, eerie quiet as the clear-up begins. Close to 100 people are now known to have died in a series of some 30 deadly tornadoes that struck 6 central and southern U.S. states on Friday and Saturday. Casualties have been reported in Arkansas, Tennessee, Illinois, and Missouri. But Kentucky is thought to be the worst hit, where the scenes look post-apocalyptic. US President Biden has declared a disaster in the state. Entire towns were leveled by the tornadoes, with the state governor warning the death toll there could surpass 80.
To the people of America, there is no lens big enough to show you the extent of the damage here in Graves County or in Kentucky. Nothing that was standing in the direct line of this tornado is still standing. I wish I understood why we've gotten hit with a pandemic, a historic ice storm, flooding, and now the worst tornado in our history, all in a span of 19 months.
Satellite images give some sense of the destruction. 110 people were known to be in this candle factory complex in Mayfield, Kentucky, when the tornado hit. This is what it looked like afterwards. In neighboring Illinois, 6 people are known to have died at this Amazon factory. Before the tornado and after.
It's horrible. It's the definition of hell on earth. People's lost everything, and
in 07, my house burnt completely to the ground. We rebuilt. Then my husband died in 09, and I had to file bankruptcy and lost everything again. And now I've lost it all again.
US President Joe Biden has pledged whatever federal resources necessary for recovery operations. He's also called on the National Environmental Agency to assess whether the tornadoes can be linked to the climate crisis.
The intensity of the weather across the board has some impact as a consequence of the warming of the planet and the climate change. The specific impact on these specific storms, I can't say at this point.
Survivors now retrieve treasured possessions from what's left of their homes, and response units move to recovery operations as hopes of finding those still missing diminish. Damon Lin and James Chater for TaiwanPlus.
8 Hong Kong activists and politicians, including publisher Jimmy Lai, are being sentenced for their role in last year's banned vigil for victims of the Tiananmen massacre. Most of them are already in detention or have been imprisoned for other protest-related charges. Right now, they are back in court, awaiting their sentencing for holding an unauthorized assembly and inciting others to join. For the past 2 years, Hong Kong authorities have banned the annual candlelight vigil on June 4th, citing public order and pandemic restrictions. Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba has fired an employee who claims a senior co-worker sexually assaulted her in one of China's most high-profile MeToo cases. The employee told a government-backer paper that she was dismissed late last month. The paper published what she claimed was her termination letter. In it, Alibaba accused the woman of spreading false information about being assaulted and about the company not handling the case. The employee says she hasn't made any mistakes and will take legal action. The employee went public with her allegations in August after she said Alibaba had failed to take action. Her claims later went viral on Chinese social media. Activists from various groups have come together in Los Angeles to call for a boycott of the Beijing Winter Olympics. The demonstrators were supporters and members of the Milk Tea Alliance Los Angeles. They called on people to condemn human rights abuses in China, including in Hong Kong and Xinjiang. The Milk Tea Alliance started as a series of hashtags on Twitter and has become an online movement against authoritarianism. A number of countries, including the US, have announced a diplomatic boycott of the Games, but will still send teams to compete. We now introduce you to a radio show host that is speaking volumes for Indigenous craft and culture.
朋友们，大家好，我是布农族的阿炳，然后我在台北市的迪化街有一个原住民的商品平台，然后那平时呢，其实我还有另外一个身份，就是广播节目的主持人，在做节目的过程当中，然后我遇到很多原民的朋友。 然后听到他们说的都是，觉得好像原住民的，就是商品行销这方面，似乎大家都不是这么的得心应手，也没那么的熟悉，所以常常有很好的东西，但是就是卖不出去。然后我们希望可以帮助原民的朋友，可以多一个行销的通路跟管道。 好，让他们可以有足够的收益。好，我很开心是，有的时候在我们跟客人的互动之中，我们可以告诉他一些正确的资讯，传达一些原住民比较正确的认识跟了解。是这样子在画哦，这样子是在割哦 ，OK， 好。先割就是要对这个线，对不对？好，我先从这个好，先从底下。 我们挑商品，这些要素一定要来自原住民，就是可能这样东西是原住民他自己手做，好，然后来自于原乡，有很多可能因为在都会区的工作机会比较多，所以他们会选择来到都会区。那我觉得这些朋友他们也很有心，他们也。 可能是在于，因为在都会区接受的讯息比较多，所以在都会区的原住民，他们可能可以看到很多同样也是手工艺的东西，然后也许不是原民的，但是可以去激发他们的创作。哦，这样也是一个方法哦，还比较快可以组装吗？因为这是他们设计的啊，所以一定很知道那个步骤。啊，这个弹开了，帮我压一下。 对，没错。那在原乡的话，我觉得在原乡就是比较着重在工艺的部分。对我而言，我没有觉得哪个是最好的，我们不会去用我们自己个人的喜好去评断，因为我们希望是可以满足到不同的客群，他们有不同的需求，跟他们不同的眼光跟喜好，我们是希望可以全部都满足到，所以东西越多元越多样是最好不过的。
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. We leave you with footage of Santas wearing red swimsuits and Santa hats racing through Budapest for the yearly Naked Santa Run. For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, please download the TaiwanPlus app. Stay safe and see you next time.